That's right. Drive to Texas for a loaf of bread. True story. All right, this is the story about a drive to Texas for a loaf of bread. I say this a lot of times in my lifetime. I was in my 20s and I was going to college for engineering, for mechanical engineering. And I had an opportunity to meet and befriend some pretty incredible folks. Everybody was a little different, and boy, college is so much more fun than grade school or high school by far. Really, I learned so much more than I did in grade school and high school. And I went to some fine schools, trust me. My father's captain in the Navy, and he paid big money for parochial schools and all that. And I was raised in a very prominent area when I lived with my father. Uh, and uh, I grew up around famous Navy Star kids and all that kind of stuff. And I guess I was a lucky one. And plus, my dad was pretty famous back then. He was pretty renowned. Um, uh, which you didn't want to tell a lot of people about. He was good at it. But as a kid, you don't want people to know uh, about your parents because then they just want to hang out with you because they think you have lots of money. Unfortunately, us as kids don't have lots of money. Our parents do. Um, uh, and my dad was no millionaire back then. He was just very well to do, and he really run a terrific business, and has all his life. But anyway, so going to college was definitely an experience. I was pretty much a pro by that time. I knew how to make a huge amount of money every year, filing in advance for all my school loans and grants and all that stuff. Which all those grants were like free as long as you followed the rules. You didn't have to pay them back, but the loans aren't. They're like forever. But anyway, so I had heard about this college in Arkansas, and they had a terrific engineering program, but I didn't know if I could make it in. That's another long story. I did get in to the program for engineering and was on my third engineering degree. I wanted to take every class they had. Um, the only thing I missed was the ductwork technology. I took surveying, everything, but I had a great teacher, Brian Cunningham, who was from Memphis, Tennessee. He coached Elvis on his football team. That was pretty cool. He used to talk about a lot of cool stories in class. Great instructor. And anyway, uh, I was going to a college called Rogers State. No, that was Phillips. That was Phillips College. I went to Rogers State previously in Oklahoma. But anyway, so one of the girls that I was in class with, there weren't a lot of girls in engineering. This girl was very serious, a beautiful girl, um, and quite intelligent. And her name was Jonna. I'm not going to say the last name, um, but anyway, because there's some maybe incriminating things in the story. Anyway, John and I were great friends, and we had several classes together every week in engineering. And her parents were quite well to do. Her mother had married a very hot dog lawyer. He was a bit older than her, and this guy was awesome. I actually used him a few times in my life for properties, buying properties. But anyway, so Jonna was a pretty cool cat. She seemed pretty straight up. I liked hanging out with her because she was, really down to earth kind of individual, and I'm really pretty careful about who I hang around with because I don't want to be involved in any illegal scams or drugs or any weird stuff. But anyway, so we were really great friends, and Jonna came by my house one day, honked the horn in the driveway, and she had her grandma's car, which was like a mint, a Chevy. I mean mint. And you never knew what John would be driving because she'd be driving all different people's cars. But I guess Grandma couldn't drive anymore; she was too old. So anyway, Jonna would drive her car a lot. But she came by my house in this car, honked in the driveway. I step out the door like, "Is you think this is Sonic drive-through?" And by God, it's Jonna. and she's sitting in the driver's seat with the engine running. And I said, so what's up? Now, this is the day before finals, okay, for engineering. The day before finals. And this is the time that you spend every hour you can to study because you've got to pass those finals. And otherwise, you just wasted a ton of money on $100 each engineering books and your tuition and all that time you went to school and oh my gosh, it'll give you a clear fail if you don't make a really high grade on those finals. So anyway, and I guess you learn your lesson when you're paying for the stuff yourself, you know. But anyway, so I said, so what's going on? And she says, well, I thought I'd drop by. She says, I got to go to the store, and do you want to ride? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, the store is only like 7 minutes down the street. And so I drove to the car, bought my pocketbook, locked my house up, and went with her. We went down to the store, and we sat in the car, and all of a sudden I notice, you know, because she hasn't got out of the car for a second, I noticed that she's got like this paper up on the window next to her and like tracing something. And then she runs in the store and she said, well, she tells me, I've got to go cash a check. So she runs in the store and cashes this check for, I think it was like $600, $400 or $600. Comes back out and puts the car in gear, and she said, let's go out and see Hunter. Well, I knew Hunter for years. He's a character. He's probably not alive anymore. Hunter was kind of like a California person. He talked about interesting philosophies. And if you ever lived or grew up or visited California, there are some darned interesting people out there. You know, they can hold up a pencil, look at it, and go, can you relate? But anyway, and I'm always open to hearing people's thoughts and stuff. And it's interesting. Some of the greatest millionaires come up with the most stupid ideas and made tons of money off it. So don't ever shun anybody away because they might be speaking something that's really worthwhile and you will learn from it years later, or you could make money off of it. Don't ever shut anybody down for what they have to say. So anyway, I was cool with going to visit Hunter. I mean, this is like, 4 in the afternoon. So anyway, we drove out to Tunica, and Hunter lived in a trailer out in the dirt. I'd never been to his house before. And we pulled up over there, and she ran into the house, hung out there for about 20 minutes, then come back out and said, you want to come in? I'm like, okay. So I went in, and he's discussing some crazy stuff about hotspots or something. And I'm just like, okay. And so he always had some topic of the day. And so anyway, we sat there for about an hour, and then he whips out the party materials and he's like, so you want some? I'm like, no, I'm all done there. I have kids to raise. I had my time before my kids were born. But anyway, so then they say, well, hey, why don't we go down to the casino? And Splash was only another like 40 minutes away. That was one of the first casinos opened in Tunica, which I also had the grand honor to work at when it grand opened. Anyway, so we hop in the car and we all go in Jonna's car. So we drive on over there, and Hunter's goes upstairs somewhere. We were talking about eating as soon as we got there. Of course, that doesn't happen because as soon as you see that money, hear it clinging, because then the change come out of the slot machine, so you could hear it chiming. When you hear it chiming a lot to where it hurts your ears, and they raise the volume of the music, then you know the payout's working out real good. It's time to play. So anyway, I didn't have any money on me, and so anyway, Jonna jumps onto the crap table. I stand with her for a little bit, just kind of right up next to her, so I'm not in anybody's way. And I'm just kind of watching, and I don't get it. I have a very bad thing about table games because I had some bad experiences in Vegas with pit bosses and head of casinos that hustle me for money, tell me, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and I'd lose my money. That's another story. But anyway, so so I'm standing there watching her and being real quiet, not getting anybody's way. So after about an hour and a half, she turns around, she goes, here, and she hands me like $20 and says, here, you can go play the machines if you want. I'm like, okay, cool. So anyway, I'd go over and I'm putting a coin in every single machine, trying to test play it, see if anything's paying. And those machines were a quarter. This is before the dime, nickel, penny stuff came out, and a lot of the computerized machines came out. These are digital machines, but they weren't fully computerized. So anyway, I'm goofing around with that for about an hour. I really don't win anything, like $2 here, $5 here. And so I go back over by the crap table. I'm looking around to see if Hunter's around. I don't see him. And so anyway, I stand at the crap table with John again. After about 2 more hours, she hands me like $50. Says, here, go play the slot machines. I'm like, well, okay. And I thought, God, I might as well just play it because we don't know how long we're going to friggin' be here. And came all in one car. So anyway, I go kind of play that off, goofing around. And then I went upstairs. I had like 5 machines upstairs, and there was Hunter Bill. And he's like, I'm about ready to eat. And he's about drunker than hell. So anyway, I had to go upstairs, and he's playing pretty good on one machine. So I played a few coins on another. I found one down by the stairwell that played really well. And I was playing on that for a while. And I won like $150, boom. So I put that in my pocketbook. And Hunter's like, I want to go eat. I want to go eat. Where's John? And I said, on the crap table. So I go back over to the crap table, and I said, hey, look, Hunter wants to go eat. And she goes, we'll do that in just a minute. Well, Jonna's playing away, and she is making bank. Ola, dude. I couldn't believe the money she had. And she's real serious, like she knows every bit of that game. I was amazed, because, I was in my 20s. So anyway, finally we get her to come off that table. And so we go up to the restaurant, order some food, and Jonna's there about 3 minutes after the food comes, wolfs down a little bit, and gets up from the table. And so Hunter and I are sitting there talking, taking our time, everything. And he's drunker than hell, going on with some topic of the day. And so anyway, I don't get me wrong, I love Hunter Bell. He's a riot. So anyway, we go back downstairs to go check out Jonna, and she's way hot on that table. So then finally she turns to me and she says, you want to play? I said, no. And she says, here, I'll pay if you'll bet. I said, okay. She said, here, just put a stack of chips in front of me. And I said, I don't know what to do. She says, I will help you, and the guys on the table will help you, which is a true thing. They're there to make money just like you, and they work for those tips. And as long as you tip them, you get some cool info. So anyway, I learned that real quick. And so everybody helped me, and I was doing great. Anyway, after hours and hours hanging on that crap table, which Jonna was pretty cool. She wouldn't drink too much. She would have a cocktail like every 3 hours. And then me, I didn't drink. I quit drinking years before that. When I started having kids, I quit drinking. I was no bad drunk. I just quit drinking. I wanted to be fully alert to raise my children. So the party was over when I had kids, and I don't regret it. Wouldn't trade my kids for nothing in the world. Maybe one of them, but anyway. So anyway, we finally, I'm like hanging on this crap table. I've been making a ton of money. Jonna did too. And so, and again, it's the night before finals. So anyway, I guess it was about 4 or 5 in the morning. And Now we're about, I don't know, like 2 hours from home, and the college is like 20 minutes from there. And I'm like, dude, we got finals in the morning. So anyway, we finally pull ourselves together. I think we went to go have another bite to eat real quick because we got a comp. I knew everybody in the casino that worked there, so I could get free comp. So we got a comp, grabbed some seafood up real fast, tipped the waitress and everything, and jumped on out of there. And as I'm like going, we gotta go, we gotta go. So, and this is the part where Jonna and Hunter want to rap about some serious topic. Oh no, it's time to go. We have finals. So finally, I get these bozos to get in the car, and like those two are drunk, and I'm not. Hunter was major drunk, and so anyway, you get in this car, and it's like almost daylight, and so Hunter decides he's going to drive and take the back roads because he can get back in a hurry. We're flying down the old dirt roads of Tunica, old 61 near the water, over moguls and everything, like going like freaking 60 mile an hour. That was really fun, man. So anyway, and Hunter's driving. So anyway, we get to his house, drop him off, and give him hugs, and get back in the car so we can get back. Because I at least wanted to take a shower before I went to go take my final, whatever. But no. So we get back in town, and we just make it in time to go to class. So we've been up all night, look like hoodoo, and like zombies deluxe. And walk into the classroom, and it's like the last 5 minutes of class for the final. Like everybody's gone. The teacher's there. Mr. Cunningham, Brian W. Cunningham, is there grading the finals. And I'm like, oh my God, my heart just sunk. And he says, well, hello, ladies. And so he said, well, Mrs. West, so what are you ladies here for today? Your final? We conned him into letting us go ahead and do the exam. He didn't give us a time limit. He just said, here it is. You want to do it? There you go. He said, you're lucky you came in before class ended, or you'd had no final. Ooh. So this is the bad part, taking a huge exam of pages and pages of engineering. Okay, after you're a zombie. Okay, so anyway, Jonna finishes before I do. He puts her way over one side and me way over the other side. We had a big giant room there. It was really neat. And so he sits there watching us while he's grading. He looks over his glasses, over here, over there. And I thought, oh boy, he's already got an attitude. And which he did most of the time. He's a good cat though. Anyway, so Jonna finishes hers. She walks out to go down to the break room down the hallway. So I'm sitting there. I finish it up, and I'm like, man, I just don't know. It got to the point where some stuff you better answer B, because my dad used to teach at UCLA all the time, and he said, I don't like computer tests because the usual selected answer is B. So anyway, I said, man, I know this sucker a clear fail. So I hand my paper in to Mr. Cunningham, and he says, okay, thank you very much, and if you'll give me a few moments, I will give you your grade. And he says, you're lucky you were here for the final, or you'd have had a clear fail. Went, yes, sir. So I went down to break room, waited with Jonna, waited with my friend Big Terry. We were sitting there talking and giggling, and the place was kind of vacant because people had done their finals. It was time for the teachers to take their breaks till the next classes resumed for finals. And so it was kind of a vacant building. They had like the maintenance guy there mopping floors and stuff. And this is in daytime. So anyway, so we're sitting down there at a little table in the break room, overlooking the campus there. And we're laughing and carrying on about what last night was and all that. And So all of a sudden, you hear Mr. Cunningham step out the door, and he said, "Ladies." So John and I get up to go down there, and he goes through Johnna's paper first, and he says, "Now let me go over this grade with you." And bottom line was, she got an A. I'm like, holy hell, how do people function like that? So anyway, he goes to my paper, and Jonna, steps out, and he goes to my paper, and he he says, "Okay, well, Miss West," he said, "and your grade is A minus." So I was like, oh, I thought I was just gonna fall down. So anyway, he said, "So by the by, what is the reason that you ladies showed up so late to class today for finals? This is the most important day of the year." I said, "Well, sir, it wasn't totally my fault." And he says, "Why?" I said, "Well, it was kind of like we had to go to Texas to get a loaf of bread." And he said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Sir, you'll never believe this, but did you already enter my grade in the book?" He said, "Yes." I'm like, "Good." So, and he goes to hand me my papers back, because we had to do, drawing on the drafting table and all that kind of stuff, and drawing on the computer, because they had just come out with CAD and AutoCAD and all that back then. So anyway, he hands me my papers and everything, and I said, "Well, sir," I said, "honestly, I'm not going to lie to you." I said, "We've worked all night long." He said, "What?" I said, "Yes, sir." So I laid down $3,000 cash on the table. He said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, I worked all night long." I said, "We went to the casino, and as a matter of fact, we busted butt to get back here in time not to miss finals. And uh, I was freaking out because I did not want to miss finals, and because it'd been a whole school year wasted." And he said, "You're right." And he said, "You made that much money?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Actually, we started with $400. I said, "And you should see how much money John has got." She had about 6K. And he looked at me and he just shook his head. Throwing those dice all night long. So anyway, we all laughed, thought it was great. And then after that, this is another story. We went down to the Queen of Clubs at Wayne's Club while they were doing the cleanup to go shoot some pool. And then eventually we all went home and went to sleep. But anyway, had a riot that day, and the moral of that story is, don't ever get in the car with Jonna, because you may be going to Texas for a loaf of bread. That's right. Anyway, you have a great day. I hope you enjoyed that story. Love to you. I love you, Jonna. And Hunter Bill, may you rest in peace. I'm sure Hunter's already gone. Anyway, everybody have a great day. Love to you. Keep the roses growing.